Good morning, everyone. And if you are somewhere else in this world, good afternoon or good evening, good night. I'm live from Toronto, Ontario. My name is Al Parsai. I'm a regulated Canadian immigration consultant. I teach immigration consulting at Ashton College. I'm a college professor, and I'm the author of the bestseller book 88 Tips on Immigration to Canada, which you can purchase your copy from Amazon websites. But the reason that I'm here today is to answer your questions about immigration to Canada, and of course, recap what happened in the past week. My intention is to go live every Sunday at 10 a.m. in the morning of Toronto, which is the Eastern Standard Time. So without further ado, before your questions show up, just a quick recap. The government didn't run an express entry draw in the past week. Actually, the last express entry draw was done on January 21st, so it is long overdue. Hopefully, they will run an express entry draw in the next few days, and we will see some movements in that front. Unfortunately, the coronavirus situation is still going on, and the borders are closed more than ever. Actually, now we have even more restrictive measures by the government of Canada. For example, if you are flying to Canada, you now can only go to 4 cities in Canada. That is into Montreal, Toronto, Vancouver, and also Calgary. Unfortunately, no international flights will go to any other airports in Canada. When you reach Canada, you need to first do a test, a COVID test up front. You need to log into ArriveCan, which is an app to make sure that you are following Emergency and Quarantine Act. Then they will direct you to a hotel which is assigned by the government of Canada for a 3-day quarantine. And within those 3 days, they run another COVID test. You have to pay $2,000 for that hotel room. And after 3 days, if your COVID test is negative, then you need to go to your own arrangement for another 11 days and self quarantine. If your test is positive, they will transfer you to government run facilities for further observation and monitoring. So they are making it even more difficult to travel to Canada nowadays because of coronavirus. Having said that, they are processing applications for immigration, for visa, for work permit, albeit very slowly. Some of the visa offices apparently they are not working, or they are working extremely slowly, but they are processing the applications. I have some applications that I submitted to the office in Sydney, Nova Scotia, more than 6 months ago, and they have not even received their file numbers. We're talking about applications under the federal self-employed class, startup visa, those kinds of applications. I have some applications that I submitted to the office in Edmonton, CPC Edmonton, in August, and they have not received August of 2020. They have not even received their file number. I have applications stuck in the visa office in New York. Nothing. Some minor communications from New Delhi with our office. Some minor communications with with us through visa office in Ankara and Warsaw. But generally speaking, Singapore is relatively doing its job properly, etc. But generally speaking, there are many glitches in the immigration process. So if nowadays you're applying for immigration or visa or work permit or study permit, don't expect a quick response from the immigration authorities. They were never quick, but nowadays they are even worse. And if you go on their website and you see the processing times, don't trust those processing times, because those processing times were based on what was happening before COVID-19. The other issue that I would like, and I will reach the questions, and I will, Julie, I saw your question. I will try to answer your question. The other issue that you need to know is about trying to cross the port of entry nowadays, and trying to convince the CBSA officers to enter Canada, which is basically a good segue to answer your question, Julie, as well, is that you need to show that you deserve exemptions, and based on those exemptions, they will allow you to enter Canada. So unless your travel is discretionary, for example, you already have a work permit and you need to go to Canada to work, or you're already a permanent resident of Canada or a Canadian citizen, you can definitely come back to Canada. If you have a study permit and your school is considered one of those schools that they have a COVID-19 ready plan, then you may travel to Canada. But other than that, you need to show, if it's a non-discretionary travel, you need to show that you are exempted. And for exemption, if you are a close family member of a Canadian citizen or permanent resident, if you are then you may travel. If you are an extended family member of a Canadian citizen or permanent resident, you need to receive an exemption from the immigration authorities. If you are reuniting with your, for example, spouse or common law partner who is a temporary worker or a student in Canada, you still need to request an exemption to be able to come to Canada. Sometimes people try to overdo it, and unfortunately, they even enter fraudulent activities to enter Canada. Just a few months ago, a gentleman from the United States forged some work documents and claimed at the port of entry that he's coming to Canada to work. The officers realized that the documents were forged. They were not real documents. And because of that, they actually sent him to a hearing, and he was convicted. And he has received a 12 months probation. So within the next 12 months, if he commits the same crime, they will put him in prison. And they also fined him $2,000, which he needs to donate to a designated charity. So you have to be very careful with the documentation, etc., etc. Okay, so I have a question from Julie Bork. So good morning. Thank you for help with IMM 0006. I received my partner's extended family approval to come to Canada. Can he drive into Canada with this? So Julie, basically, if usually it depends on the province. But at least in Ontario, this is, by the way, this is outside my area of expertise. I'm an immigration consultant. So I tell you this based on being a newcomer to Canada a few years ago, and the laws that I have encountered in Ontario, and based on the input I receive from my clients every now and again. So my understanding is that if you're a visitor in Canada, if you have a valid driver's license from your home country, in many provinces, including Ontario, they allow you to drive in Canada for up to 60 days. Okay, so that's usually the case. But to make sure, in Ontario, you need to visit the MTO, or Ministry of Traffic, something. So you need to go on MTO's website and double check to make sure what I'm saying is correct. Okay. The other thing that you may need to know is that in many provinces of Canada, even if you are a visitor to Canada, you can apply for a local driver's license. And if they approve your driver's license, then you can drive with a local driver's license. I've had clients that they were visitors in Canada and they managed to receive their driver's license here in Canada. Okay, so right now you don't have any questions, so I will continue talking until I receive questions. So my other issue that I would like to share with you is about inadmissibility to Canada. And I've seen this, especially with the existence of the Emergency Act and the Quarantine Act. We see some issues that are arising that they didn't exist before. So you have to be very careful. That's why I just recently published an article about hiding information while immigrating to Canada. So you can check it out on settler.ca. I have tried to explain that what will be the consequences if you try to hide information while you are traveling to Canada, immigrating to Canada, filing for citizenship, those kind of things. I just post the link here also on the chat box, but you can definitely go on settler.ca and check out this article about the consequences of hiding information while immigrating to Canada. Okay, so there is another question here from Atul Kolar. Generally, what is the criteria to get a positive significant benefit work permit, C11, whether certain amount of investment or certain years of management experience or certain number of employees, and how much time C11 work permit is taking to get approved from India? Very good question. Okay, so for those of you who are not familiar, when you want to work in Canada, generally speaking, you need to go to the labor office first, which is the ESDC or Service Canada, and receive a letter from them that they say that hiring you in Canada has no negative impact on the Canadian market. This is called LMIA, or Labor Market Impact Assessment. This is a letter that is issued by ESDC. When you receive that letter, then you can go to immigration authorities and ask for a work permit. Having said that, about 2/3 of people who come to Canada to work, they do not actually receive that letter because they are exempt from a labor market impact assessment. And what Atul is referring to is actually is based on that. So there are certain exemption codes. One of those exemption codes is called IMPC11, or International Mobility Program C11. If IMPC11 applies to you, it means that you are an entrepreneur or a self-employed person, that you want to come to Canada and you want to invest in Canada, you want to work for yourself, and based on the work that you do, it will create a positive impact on the labor market and economy of Canada. And because of those, you don't really need an LMIA, and you deserve a work permit to come to Canada and work in Canada. The officer for IMPC11 looks into 3 major areas. One area is that you have a plausible plan to invest and work in Canada. So they look into your business plan and the research that you have already done, those kind of things, to find, and of course your personal assets, to make sure that you can actually make this happen, and if this is a realistic plan that could have a positive impact on Canadian economy and labor market. So that's criteria number 1. Criteria number 2 is that you are the right person to do this job, and they look into your education, your past experience, and of course your assets, etc., to make sure that you are the person who can actually run that business. So when they look at that, it doesn't mean that you definitely need to be a business owner or you definitely need to be a manager. Having said that, if you have never been a manager or a business owner, how can you convince an immigration officer that you can start a business in Canada if you couldn't start a business in your own home country or manage a business in your own home country? Then how can you do this in Canada? So you need to have enough justification that when the officer looks at your application, says, yes, this person can actually come to Canada and start the business that they are proposing. So in other words, also your experience, your CV, your education, your skills need to match the business that you're proposing in Canada. If they are convinced, then we go to the third criteria or criterion. The third criterion is basically says that you have taken some steps to make this business happen in Canada. And by taking steps, it means that, for example, you register a business in Canada, that you own it, at least 50% of that belongs to you. You have a business plan in place. You have tried to run this business in Canada even before coming. For example, you have an office, or you have tried to hire people, you have talked to some other organizations to run this business, you have transferred some of your funds to Canada in the past, etc., etc. This list is neither inclusive nor exclusive. It doesn't mean that you have to do all of those things, but you may even do all of those things that they refuse your application. But generally speaking, if they look at these three criteria, you have a plan that excites Canadian economy in a positive direction and the labor market, creates jobs for Canadians, etc. Two, you are the right person for that business. And three, you have taken some steps to make that business happen in Canada. If all of those are convincing to the immigration officer, then they will approve the application. So for a person who is from India, by default, the application will go to the visa office in New Delhi. And as I mentioned, the New Delhi office is very slow nowadays. So don't expect a quick answer from them. It is very difficult to predict for how long it will take, but I can assure you that right now it takes a lot longer than usual, because in the past we could submit the application and we could expect to receive an answer from the visa office in New Delhi in less than a month. But nowadays, it could take several months or several weeks before they reply back to us. And at the end of the day, if you apply today, it's better to apply next month, because generally speaking, the government of Canada tries, not necessarily, to follow the first come first serve approach. Again, I have to give you a disclaimer here. They do not necessarily follow first come first serve approach, but generally speaking, if you submit your application sooner, there is a chance that you will receive an answer sooner. So I hope I answered your question. So the next question is from Dr. Kamal Bouyan. I hope I pronounced, Dr. Kamal, your name correctly. Hello, sir. I'm from Bangladesh. Needs your book to buy, but unable. Please let me know how it can be. So I honestly don't know the answer to your question. My book is available through Amazon. And I know that Amazon has 13 different marketplaces that you can purchase the book through them. I am not permitted to sell the book myself or through, I mean, even if I sell it to you, I will purchase a copy from Amazon and then I sell it to you. That's how it works, because the way that I signed a contract with Amazon. But any Amazon website that can ship to Bangladesh, you can purchase from that. And I know that they have copies available on Amazon of India. So probably maybe you can purchase the book through Amazon in India. And again, I don't know about the rules in Bangladesh about purchasing from Amazon. If this is not an option and you want to directly purchase from us, you can. But the problem is that it becomes even more expensive for you, because I have to purchase a copy from Of course, I have discount, so I include that discount, but I have to purchase a copy from Amazon and then post it to your office. And then if you add the shipping handling costs, it will become more expensive. So it's in your best interest you purchase it from Amazon. What happens if someone mistakenly enters a wrong NOC code while creating the express entry profile? And by wrong, I mean really close to the correct one. So thank you very much. This question is from Shahu Sarbaz. So Shahu, first of all, of course, this is a very good question, but at the same time, it's a very generic question, and there are so many different scenarios that could apply to this. So I try to present some potential scenarios and answer each of those scenarios, but whether any of those will apply to your personal case, I don't know. I will answer this generically because I cannot answer personal questions here. So generally speaking, if somebody creates an express entry profile and they realize that they entered their NOC code incorrectly, and by the way, we do it through our portal, which is slightly actually a lot different from my GCIC system that individuals use. And I haven't used that my GCIC system for years. Probably the last time that I used it was in 2015. So I'm not quite sure what are the exact differences. But generally speaking, when you create the express entry profile and you have not been invited to apply, all you need to do is to go back and try to fix the error. Okay, so generally it allows you to fix it. Even if you cannot fix it and they have not invited you yet, all you need to do is to basically close that and then create a new express entry profile with the correct NOC code. Because at that moment, when you enter the pool of express entry and they have not invited you, nothing has happened. It's just basically, it's okay if you alter your, make any changes you want to that. And if you even want to close that and create a new one, nothing will happen because they have not invited you. And if you are lucky enough, they are going to make the invitations 2 days from now, 3 days from now. If you make corrections, it will not have any effect in terms of inviting you if you have enough number of points. So that's the safest way to try to fix the issue before the invitation. However, if they invite you to apply, then that could be problematic because the officer will look into that and say, hey, you do not qualify under this NOC code because the documents that you have submitted, they do not match that NOC code. Now, there are a couple of scenarios. One of them is to negotiate with them and try to explain that this is the situation. My NOC code, the correct NOC code was this one. I put this by mistake, etc. That will result into basically the officer's discretion if they buy into what you have and your previous NOC code is, for example, skill level A, and your new NOC code is also a skill level A. So some of those officers are flexible, but if you don't do nothing, or if they do not buy into what you say, they will refuse the application because they say there is a discrepancy in this application. In some severe cases, if the NOC code is basically to entice them to approve the application, and then you realize that you deceived them. In other words, you mentioned a NOC code which is not true, because if you had mentioned the right NOC code, then you didn't qualify. In those situations, the officer may even go in the direction of misrepresentation under Section 40. So my advice is to try to fix it as quickly as possible. Try to be honest with the officer and explain everything. And by the way, why not hire somebody professional. I know that I'm an immigration consultant, so I shouldn't promote myself here and say, hey, come pay me money. But one of the reasons that you hire an immigration consultant like us is not because I'm a better person than you, because we have layers in our office. So you may make a mistake. It comes to my employee, and my employee will fix it. If my employee doesn't fix it, then it goes to our internal manager, and internal manager fixes it. If the internal manager doesn't fix it, it comes to me and I fix it. So because we have multiple layers of reviewing an application, instead of just filling out by one person and submitting it, the chances that we encounter errors are a lot less. Right now, I have a very brilliant gentleman as my client that he's a postdoctorate holder. He's currently working a very good company here in Canada. He submitted his express entry application by himself twice, and in both situations, because of these apparently subtle mistakes, they refused the application. So for the third time, somebody told him, don't you think you need to hire someone to help you? And that's when he hired us. We submitted the application, and believe it or not, I just received his medical approval last night. So it doesn't mean I do miracles. No, but because we have the knowledge base, we have the experience, and we have layers in our office, then it reduces the chances for mistakes. Finally the sun is gone. Okay, so the next question. The next question is from Liaquat Ali. Okay, so I assume Liaquat means liaqat. Yeah. So hey brother, I want Canada to, tell me easy way to. Hey brother, I want to, tell me easy way to, and it continues. Okay, so let me tell you, I have a video and an article, and then in that video and article, I say 5 questions that you should never ask if you want to immigrate to Canada. And one of those questions is that I want an easy way to immigrate to Canada. There is no easy way to Canada. There isn't. There is no easy way. If you are looking for an easy way, you are only opening the opportunity to somebody to abuse you, because somebody will approach you and say, oh yeah, I have the easy way. Just pay me $40,000 and I will easily bring you to Canada. And you know what will happen? You pay them 40 grand. And then what will happen? Either they will just take away your money and they do nothing, or you will enter a scheme, an immigration breaking the law scheme, and then that will result into serious consequences. I'm sorry to break it to you, my friend, but there is absolutely no easy way for immigration to Canada. Immigration to Canada, no matter which option you select, probably the easiest option is a sponsorship for parents and grandparents. And even that one comes with complexities, and that one comes with certain twists and turns. You know how many cases I have represented to Immigration Appeal Division, which is like a court system for parental sponsorship cases only. And we are talking about the easiest immigration option to Canada, which we ended up in a hearing in a court-like room to defend my client to eventually be able to immigrate to Canada. So unfortunately, whether it's a study permit, whether it is a visit visa, whether it is a work permit, whether it is immigration to Canada, provincial or federal, unfortunately, there is no easy way to immigrate to Canada. And let me tell you this, on an average, anywhere between 100 to 300 people fill out our assessment form or contact us in a single day, every single day. And we are a small immigration office. We are not a small immigration office, but we are a relatively mid-sized immigration office in Canada. So think about that, 100 to 300 requests per day to this office, to our office. And let me tell you this, majority of them, they do not even qualify for immigration to Canada. And that's the sad part of it. I mean, imagine if I could process all those 100 to 300 applications, I was a billionaire by now. But this is not the reality of immigration to Canada. The immigration to Canada is tough. The immigration to Canada is expensive. The immigration to Canada takes time, and the immigration to Canada is limited to specific people. And it breaks my heart. That's the reality of immigration to Canada, but it exists. So my suggestion to you is that just read my article on this subject and see that you never ever should ask that question. So I just posted the link on the chat box. Okay, so the next question is by Ravi Saini. By the way, if you have asked a question, wait, I will definitely do my best to answer every single question. So if you see there is a delay, don't go away. Stay tuned. I will answer your question. So Ravi says, hello, good morning. If a student is doing just 1 or 2 courses in order to finish the program in final semester, can he or she work full-time in Canada? So the simple answer to your question is no. The law says you can only work full-time if you as a student can have either finished your work permit studies and you already applied for PGWP, postgraduate work permit, or if you are continuing studying, it's only your summer break or winter break, those kind of things, spring break. Otherwise, while you are studying during the semester, you can only work up to 20 hours per week off campus. In campus, they don't care, but off campus, you can only work up to 20 hours per week. Having said that, there are some exceptional circumstances. While you're a student, you have the opportunity to apply for a work permit, for example, as a destitute student, or if you have received a job offer, those kind of things. And if they issue you a work permit, then that work permit will allow you to work full-time. But with the scenario that you have mentioned, unfortunately, the answer is no. And remember, if a student decides to work full-time while they're studying in Canada, then they are in breach of the Immigration Act, and then under Section 41 of the Immigration Act, to be exact, subsection 41A, that person becomes inadmissible to Canada. It means that the student could receive an exclusion order. They will remove them from Canada, and for 1 year, the student cannot come to Canada. This happens very rarely. I emphasize that it rarely happens because CBSA doesn't have enough resources to pursue those students and investigate and go through the process for those students. But despite being a very rare event, it happens. It actually happens that some students encounter this problem. So the risk of getting caught very low, but the consequences are very serious. And because of that, I highly recommend that you stay away from working full-time while you're a student. Okay. Where am I? Okay, so I answered, oh, here. So Patience Nick, I love your name. So the answer is, the question is that, hello, sir, I'm Patience, and I wish to enter about caregiver and home support care program in Canada. Is it possible to have a job in this program while I'm outside Canada? That's an excellent question. So the simple answer, and you get it right. I mean, without a job offer, you cannot apply. The simple answer is that it is almost impossible unless you have a relative in Canada. So if you have a close friend or a relative in Canada that they really need a caregiver, then the chances that they offer you a job as a caregiver, they do exist. And majority of my clients come from that an area. It means that they have a relative, a cousin, or another family member, maybe a sister, brother, or a close friend, that close friend, they are working full-time, they need somebody to take care of their child, or they have an elderly and they need somebody to take care of their elderly. In those situations, they receive a job offer and they can apply. If you have nobody, then the chances that you get a job offer in Canada as a caregiver are extremely low. There are some agencies that they assist caregivers to find jobs in Canada, but you have to be very careful. No agency in Canada can ask for money for job offer. Okay, so if somebody is asking you to give them money for job offer or take care of your expenses, then this raises questions. Okay, make sure that if you receive a job offer, the job offer is real. But at the end of the day, finding a job offer as a caregiver, if you don't have relatives or close friends in Canada, are very low. But look up agencies that they deal with caregivers, they might be able to help. Okay. So the next question is from Manu Goal. Hello, can a caregiver currently on a visitor visa in Canada apply for a work permit if he's found an employer who wants to hire immediately? What's the process? Is LMIA required? Okay, so that's a very good question. Let me answer this. So basically, right now, because of coronavirus, the government said that if you were in Canada as a visitor on August 24th and you're still a visitor in Canada, then you may apply for a work permit from inside Canada, which is in breach of Section 199 of the regulations, but they said that's okay. This is a public policy, and that public policy allows you to apply from inside Canada. And so this is doable right now because of coronavirus for certain visitors, not all the visitors. It is in your best interest to get in touch with a professional. You can get in touch with us if you have a real job offer, and we can look into this to see if you qualify to apply from inside Canada. If you do not qualify to apply from inside Canada, then you can submit the application on paper to the Visa Application Center in New York. Having said that, it could take ages for them to process the application if you do it that way. So that's why it is in your best interest if you apply online, but you need to make sure that you qualify to apply online. In terms of LMIA, there are currently a special program for caregivers in Canada, and I just want to locate it on my website to share it with you. So this program is specifically for two NOC codes, or National Occupation Classification codes, specifically for home childcare provider and home support worker provider. So I shared the link here on the chat box as well. You can take a look at it. But at the end of the day, if you have a job offer for those, then there is a chance you can start working without an LMIA. You don't need to apply for a labor market impact assessment. But if you do not qualify for those, or for some reason you want to expedite the process, then there is a chance that you can apply under LMIA as well. So right now for caregiver applications, we do have the option for LMIA or labor market impact assessment and non-LMIA cases. Both of them are available. You need to discuss your circumstances, or your employer needs to discuss the circumstances with a seasoned immigration consultant or an immigration lawyer, and then based on that, decide which option is the best for you. I hope I answered this question. Okay, Muhammad Ali. Hello, I have relatives in Canada who are willing to sponsor me as a refugee who have considered immigration division. Conventional ID, sorry. And I live in third country. How long does it take to the process? So if you already been identified by UNHCR as a convention refugee, then a group of 5 could expedite your process of resettlement to Canada. And a group of 5, it means that 5 Canadians or permanent residents of Canada get together and they agree to cover your expenses in the first year that you come to Canada. But when we say expediting the process, it doesn't mean that in a matter of weeks you come to Canada. In the past, for group of five, the processing time was around 1.5 years or so for most countries. But nowadays, I honestly don't know. I mean, you may even see people that they are waiting several months in line and they are not being resettled to Canada. And especially coronavirus makes the situation even more complex as they prefer not to resettle people at this stage to Canada. But at the end of the day, you got to do what you got to do, regardless of the processing time. If a group of five agree to sponsor you to Canada, then by all means, why not? Just give it a try, and that could enhance your chances of resettlement. At least they could enhance your chances of resettlement if they do not expedite your process. Okay, Catalina says, we are your fans, your knowledge and the feeling of the security that offers you and your team members is, oh, I truly appreciate that, Catalina, from the bottom of my heart. Thank you very much. So Dr. Kamal says buying from Amazon is not possible here. So please help me. I'm a lawyer at Supreme Court here and professor of law at university. Of course, Dr. Kamal, please send us an email to info@settler.ca and we see what kind of options we can explore for you. So just send an email to this info@settler.ca. And then we see what kind of options we do have for Bangladesh. I have many good clients. I have good clients from Bangladesh, so I'll do whatever I can for Bengali people. And of course, you are an esteemed lawyer, so that would be great to be in touch with you. So, hello, Baraday. I'm telling the truth that there is no coronavirus in Pakistan. Okay. Again, I'm not an advocate for coronavirus, so please don't share this with me. If I can come to Canada as a permanent resident, will it be easy for me to be accepted as a student in universities like University of Toronto, given the fact that I am 30 and ordinary in every aspect? Shahu, you're humble, but let me explain to you what's going on here. So if you become a permanent resident of Canada, then you suddenly have the right to study in Canada. So you don't need a study permit or anything. You can apply to different universities and colleges, and if you receive an admission, then you can study. In terms of whether you will receive admission or not, it depends on your, of course, studies. For example, what was your highest level of studies? How much English do you know? Because usually you need to take an IELTS test if you are from a non-English country, or your studies were not in English language or French language. And also, when did you finish your studies, those kind of things. So for each, of course, university or each college, they have different criteria for different programs. And then based on that, they decide whether to offer you admission or not. We have something interesting by many universities and colleges, pretty much all universities and colleges in Canada, and it is called admission for mature students. By mature student, it means that if there is a huge gap between your previous studies and now, and now you're older than normal students that they take that course, then instead of going through the regular process, which makes it impossible for you to enter the college or university, you use the matured process, which makes it easier for matured students to enter the university and study. So that opens lots of opportunities for permanent residents of Canada to study at school. I'm doing my second master's degree in Canada. I'm doing my Master of Laws nowadays. And one of the classes that we had, somebody came to talk to us. She's a lawyer, but she entered the school to study law at the age of around 42, 43. And the reason that she managed to do that, because she was accepted as a mature student. So there are some programs, amazing programs, to make it possible for people to study in Canada. And now I'm kind of lucky because when I came to Canada, the first course of study I took was my immigration studies at Humber College. And then when I was doing my master's program, that Humber College studies helped me to do my Master of Psychology. And when I finished my Master of Psychology, later on, when I decided to do Master of Laws, that Master of Psychology helped me to get approved to Master of Laws program. So kind of one thing led to the other and allowed me to continue my studies. And when I entered the Master of Laws program, I was 47. I'm now 49. And still, they allowed me to study. So it's a good idea if you're considering studies, just make sure that if you're studying outside, if you studied in a non-English school, then it is in your best interest you take IELTS Academic or Duolingo or other tests that just to prove that you know enough English. Can you give me a link for seeing if I'm qualified or not for caregiver LMIA? So unfortunately, Manu, there is no link to say if you are qualified for LMIA or no. I mean, I can give you the link for LMIA, but it doesn't give you much instead of, and I can actually share with you the original high wage LMIA. So here you go. So these are the guidelines for, and this is the official Government of Canada website. These are the guidelines for LMIA, but it just makes you more confused than knowledgeable. And that's one of the things. I mean, one of the reasons that I wrote this book, believe me, there's enough information out there. You don't need a book to understand what's going on in the world of immigration. So why did I write this book? Because there's too much information, not because there's a lack of information. There's so much information out there that you get confused. So I thought, why not? I just write 88 tips about immigration to Canada and simplify it, explain pretty much everything, the introductory to everything. So when people read this book, they now understand what's going on in the world of immigration. And to my surprise, it resonated with people and it became the bestseller book in Canada under the immigration law, because people found it, oh, finally somebody simply explains in less than 400, it's actually 307 pages. So in 300 pages, somebody is explaining what's going on in the world of immigration. And that's a problem. Information is out there. There's good information, detailed information, everything is there. It's just confusing. But by all means, go ahead and take a look at the government's website. Okay, so the next question. So this is from Udani. Hi, sir. Is this the good time to apply for visit visa to Canada from Sri Lanka? That's actually a very good question. Now, I know that I say very good question, but for some reason, today everybody's asking me excellent questions. So thank you very much for that. So the answer is, the simple answer is no, it's not. Why? Because basically the immigration offices, they are not processing applications. I mean, you submit the application, nobody even looks at the application. And even if they do, and they say yes to your application. So let's say they say yes, you have a visit visa, you cannot even visit Canada because the borders are closed. So generally speaking, it's not a good time to apply for a visit visa nowadays. Having said that, there are some exceptional situations. For example, if somebody wants to visit Canada to meet with close relatives in Canada, or if somebody wants to come to Canada because there is a dire situation here. For example, one of their family members has recently died, or they are dying and they really need to come to Canada. In those situations, we have a special route for application of a visit visa. So instead of applying online in regular way, we prepare the application for our clients and we email it to a specific department of IRCC, and they review the application and they decide whether to issue the visas or not and issue the exemption to travel to Canada. So that, with that, the processing time, the posted processing time for that is 2 weeks, but don't count on it. I mean, I usually seen that they post the results anywhere between 2 to 4 weeks, but generally speaking, most of the applications will be concluded in less than 4 weeks, and you have some sort of answer from them, whether it is a yes or no. But keep that in mind. This route is not available to everyone. This is only available to people who want to have something to say to receive an exemption to travel to Canada. Okay. Okay, so the next one is that how to get your help for visit visa application. Would you be able to give us the phone number? So basically, to contact our office, just go on our website, settler.ca, and there's a contact us button. All our phone numbers and contact form and everything is there. So yes, you can do that. If you want immigration advice from me, I'm a very expensive source. I charge $200 Canadian for half an hour of immigration advice. So I don't offer free immigration advice. But if you want to get in touch with our staff, fill out our assessment form, those kind of things, they are absolutely free on our end, and we only charge you if we sign an agreement. But go on settler.ca and take a look at our website, and there's a contact form. You can get in touch with us. Okay, the next question, where was it? How to get your, okay, so the next question again is from Shahu. And by the way, we have only 9 minutes left, so I'll do my best to answer the rest of questions in the next 9 minutes. We are a group of Canadian citizens who want to bring our spiritual leader to Canada. We are willing to sponsor our spiritual leader as a visitor. So Udani, this is a possibility. Actually, depending on the circumstances, your spiritual leader could be exempt from a work permit, and they could apply under Section 186 to visit Canada and work. Another option would be that we could apply for a work permit for your spiritual leader without the need for a labor market impact assessment or LMIA. And then with that work permit, they can come to Canada. They can even get paid and work and stay in Canada. And even in some certain circumstances, that could help them to become permanent residents of Canada. If you are interested, just get in touch with us. We will review the application for you and see if it is a possibility that we work together to make that happen. But again, as I mentioned, there are different avenues. I have, in the past, I have worked with clergies, and I have worked with people who were hired by charitable organizations or by churches, etc. So I have some experience in that field, but I need to look into the details of that case and see if this is a case that we can pursue, and if we want to pursue, whether it is better to go in the direction of 186 or go in the direction of IMP. And it all depends on the circumstances surrounding that case. Okay, so it looks like that the questions are over. So just again, thank you very much for watching this video or online stream. So this is my plan, and I have decided to stick with this plan. So on Mondays, Fridays, and Wednesdays, so Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, we will post pre-recorded videos on our YouTube channel. So every 3 days a week, you will see videos being posted. We do our best to post them at 10 a.m. Eastern time on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then on Sundays at 10 a.m., we will have our live session. So every Sunday, live session, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And also pre-recorded videos 3 times a week. So please support us by subscribing to this channel, sharing these videos with your friends and family members, commenting. We'll be more than happy to answer your comments, and of course subscribing to our channel. If you know other people, encourage them to subscribe to this channel. The more support we receive, I'm hoping that if this channel has lots of subscribers, it becomes self-sustainable, and based on the money that it generates, encourage us to even enhance the quality of our videos, publish more videos, etc., etc. And of course, be on the community tab as well. If you have any questions, communicate with us, and then I will do my best to address your request. So Shaul says, apparently I missed one question. Some people in Iran say that the degree that some universities such as LMIA offer to students will not have a Canadian equivalency while applying for ECA report. Is that true? So generally speaking, Shahu, if your education is approved by the Ministry of Higher Education in Iran, then you will receive the equivalency in Canada. But unfortunately, what I've seen with the Iranian applicants is that we have some made-up universities in Iran and made-up certificates and degrees. I mean, I've had cases that they said they hold a doctorate from Iran, but in fact, they didn't even finish their high school diploma. And that's why, yes, there is some skepticism towards some of the degrees, not all of them, but some of the degrees that they come from Iran. And your best bet is just to submit the application to ECA to see what would be the result. And so I cannot say for sure for specific cases, but generally speaking, with the majority of universities and colleges in Iran, that they are approved by the Ministry of Higher Education in Iran, we don't have any issues. But with some of them, yes, we do have issues, and you have to be very careful. If something is too good to be true, then it's too good to be true. If you can go and do a 400-hour coursework and receive a doctorate, then let me tell you, this is not a doctorate, simply put. Yeah. خواهش میکنم. Thank you very much again for attending this live session. I cannot thank you enough for supporting me by, last year this time, I had only 300 subscribers on my YouTube channel. And now we have 4,100 subscribers. This is a huge growth in 1 year. And I owe this to your support, to sharing my videos, to asking questions, to promoting this channel. So please continue doing that. And if you're interested, you can purchase my book. Visit 88tips.ca for purchasing options. And that will support me by just this gesture will make me more famous and get me more clients. But you also learn, I can assure you, this is a bestseller book. Even if you go on Amazon, you see that it has 4.1 star out of 5. So people are happy with this book. So please support me by purchasing the book as well. And of course, visit our website, settler.ca. I will see you next week, this time, or let's say 1 hour from this time next week, and I will happily answer any questions you have. Okay, bye now, and see you next week. And don't forget, tomorrow we have a video at 10 a.m. EST.